are joined from Houston, Texas by my friend Christa Johnson. We're recording this for all of our computer science engineering students in Madison County schools, including my friend Angela Jordan over at Shirley Simmons Middle School, my friends Jatoria Kirksey and Angela Reed at Old Town Middle School, my friend Vicky Parks at Germantown High School, and my man Greg Morgan over at Madison Middle School, and Ormond White at Academic Options Center, and for our YouTube channel. So thank you so much for joining us. And I know we had some technical difficulties, but we're glad you are here. And we got some questions we'll get to, but we'd love to hear about your field in engineering because as we've talked about in our class, women are underrepresented, and especially minority women are underrepresented in the engineering field. And you have a pretty cool engineering background and a pretty cool engineering job, and we'd love to hear all about it. But before we do that, just to show how small the world is, Christa went to the same high school as our friend Coach Martin, who was a longtime employee of Velma Jackson, and her aunt lives right down the street from me in Brandon. So the fact that somebody that I've never met in person can have those connections to me is beyond understanding. So
Most definitely.
Also, that was really cool, but we'll let you tell us all about your career now.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you everybody for having me today. As Greg stated, I am Christa Johnson. I am a network engineer, specifically software operational for now a fiber optics company called Logix. It's a really cool place, but I've had a long history of technology in my background. And I originally started as a passion. And even in school as a kid, I left out as, with Coach Martin. Went to the same high school as him, which is a vocational high school. And my excitement for technology back then led me to here now. So I studied computer engineering. I studied computer maintenance and assembly. Pulling things apart, putting things back together was my thing. It was my go-to. Also, in college, I went to a vocational and technical college as well. I also stepped into Jackson State, though. So my original start, because I was, from Chicago, my born and raised was Jackson State. And so every time I was in Jackson, I would go visit family, but also I was accepted into Jackson State University, but did not finish at Jackson State. So what I did was I completed my degree as an associate in computer maintenance and assembly and computer electronics engineering with certification in Cisco and A+ at the time, which was very well needed and very well received in a lot of places. Now, as the certificate also stated that it is very difficult for minorities and minority women to get into technology. So in a lot of ways, it's more troubling to kick down that door, but it never stopped me from getting to my point. It's just that sometimes you have to go through a different route. And the route that I took was, in a sense, a form of retail. And a lot of people don't realize, how does retail branch into technology? Well, you have your Best Buy, you have your Fry's and those types of stores and specialty stores, to where you have a hand in technology. You have hands-on, it's just from a different type of side, but you also have to know what you're talking about. And you also have to know how to deliver that message to a customer who doesn't understand. So your passion and your excitement to give that information to someone else is always a gift. And no matter what background state you come from. Then afterwards, I moved forward into cellular technology. So once I left retail, I did cell tech, and I was actually a repair technician for Sprint, which is now T-Mobile. So I was in the stores repairing phones. So you know how you guys break your phone, screens and all. That was my job. I was there to fix it. I was there to repair it. If I had to replace it, I replaced it, but then I also educated. So the one thing that I want you all to learn in this conversation is that you have a gift to give that information. You have a gift and the ability, and because you know it, it doesn't mean that you have to hide it or keep it to yourself. Give it to someone else and help them understand where you're coming from and what your passion is as well. Because not only is it well respected, but also you could be giving someone else their passion as well, helping them understand what they want to do. So Afterwards, I moved forward and went to Verizon as a cellular technician again. This time I worked over the phone in the call center as a tech support rep. So even when you call because you had problems with your phone, I was the one they were talking to afterwards. And it was very rewarding because I enjoyed doing that and I enjoyed helping people as well. And it was bridging with my passion of technology. And so once I got the offer to come to Houston from Chicago to be a network engineer, it was the greatest thing ever because that was the goal. So, like I stated, it's not always a straight path. Sometimes you have to wiggle around, make some room, go a detour. If there's a different route, be creative in your route, but also don't give up on your passion.
Yeah, and for those who don't know what the network engineer is, you were wearing the hard hat and climbing on the towers and change, whatever wiring and transformers. There was a lot of technical training that had to go into that, but it was also what you see on TV. You were the person you see wearing the hat and wearing the all the equipment and everything.
Yeah, not only are you outside, but you're inside. So it's not always being out on the towers, but also it's being inside building the network.
Wow.
And when you're building the network, you're creating formulas, you're creating profiles, you're creating, you know, files for that field engineer to actually do their job too. So you're hand in hand and you're virtually building the network as well, which was an awesome position to have. Afterwards, I started with Logix. Something just struck me to have a new value in life and a new passion. I love cellular technology, but I also like fiber optics. So now I work in businesses like, you know, doctor's offices. I even work with school systems to make sure your phones are working, your internet is working as far as the network. I make sure that those cables are going. You guys don't only have phone service like AT&T and Verizon and T-Mobile and Cricket and all those other places. These are people, and we are the ones that create the networks inside for you to use and for you to have access to. So right now, I am a technical engineer here. The cool thing about it is I can do a lot of remote work. So I can go anywhere and you'll never know where you'll see me soon. But I do enjoy what I do because I'm able to still reach out to my clientele and customer base and let them know, hey, we're here for you. One, two, we're going to help you with your technical issues. Three, we're going to resolve them for you. And four, you're going to be back up and running like nothing's ever happened. So,
Yeah, I know you wanted to show a video about Logix as well.
sure, I definitely do. So let me go ahead and get that lined up for you guys. Any questions right now while you're waiting?
No, now we're having a little bit of trouble hearing you. We can hear you a little bit better than we did last time, but you did say you got multiple certifications. You didn't do the traditional college route. So the engineering field doesn't necessarily require a college degree. The certifications through technical schools and, Mississippi does a great job in the community colleges. That could be something if somebody didn't want to go a full 4 years could get and start working at 19, 20 years old.
Correct. Very correct. I have a lot of people who now are using that route. And sometimes traditional routes are best for everyone. We get tired too. And sometimes when the one day happens and it's over and over again, it's always different to find a different opportunity for yourself and work for you. A lot of people, it's not just about the money, but it's about the reward being able to do it yourself. And you didn't have to go a traditional way. You did what was best for you.
Yeah, and it's such a needed skill because, like you said, you're in so many places, and with every business in America that or in the world that deals with technology, like literally, you cannot do business without the fiber optics and the cell phone network. So it really is so important and so needed to get professionals into this field.
Yeah, most definitely, and I'm glad that you said that because you gotta have the drive and you gotta have patience, but most importantly, you understand what you're doing is building a part of the world that is now a necessity. People used to have cell phones and business lines for, you know, you thought that they were the rich ones. You thought that but now everybody's using it. Nobody has stationary thing. And in order for the world to move, especially nowadays from COVID, shutdowns, everybody's remote in a lot of ways, we have to make sure the world still moves. Because if not, and we are not connected, the world stops. And what happens when the world stops? It's chaos. So let's bring that chaos back together. I'll go ahead and drop the video for us now, and then we'll just go.
Yeah, and then we'll see this video, and I got some great questions I want to get to from the students, and some of these are really tough. So.
All right.
Can't really hear it, but we see it very well. But so yeah. Yeah, you're seeing the combination of the indoor and outdoor work along with the servers here.
Or near our network for the Logix.
Yeah, I hear it better now. That is some big wires.
Six fiber networks.
Like I said, we couldn't really hear it a lot, but we did see, like you said, there's a combination of indoor and outdoor. You got various technical skills with the wiring. You're in the dirt, you're in the trucks, and you got the servers and the towers and the just it seems like and the machines as well, which is all Always a big deal for any type of engineer job.
Right, and also we work directly with our customer base, so you gotta be able to talk to people as well, because they have to understand what we're doing and how we're branching the network out to them to give them the service that they need to run their businesses and make sure everything's functional. As one of our chiefs stated that, you know, regular cable companies like Xfinity and Cox, you know, they actually only need to do things for home base, like watching cartoons, you know, downloading movies, streaming. But when you're holding a business, a lot of times those are multi-million-dollar companies that are here, and you got to be able to have that strength and technology, and that's what Logix is. So we dedicate that to our business customers and help them understand what's going on and also what they're paying for as far as service.
Yeah. But I do have some questions because we are getting close on time. But this first one is Zalia Chesser, and she's in 11th grade. And she asked, before you got into this job, did you ever have an idea you'd be working in this field?
No, but yes. Because I'm a woman and I'm a minority in this field, it was very discouraging in a lot of ways. But my passion and my drive always helped me to keep going in technology. I've been in front of computers and everything since I was about 2 years old. My dad sat me there, and the lights flickered, and I was excited. So consistency for me was key, and being persistent in my goal was definitely a key part of me doing this. And I was truly proud. I was truly proud that I achieved that goal, but now also I'm able to bring others along with me.
That's awesome. This is Korea Baker. She's actually sitting right next to me, and she's a junior. And she asked, did you ever want to pursue a different career when things got difficult?
Yes. Yes, when things got difficult, you know, as any person, you would have a moment of questioning yourself and your ability. You're really able and capable of doing them. The career path that I actually wanted to do is teaching. So that was my next step. So, you know, if this doesn't work out, you may catch me in Village Jackson one day.
Hey, we got some vacant teacher positions right now.
Well, hey, don't tempt me. I'll make you move it.
This is Christa Johnson. She's also a junior. And she asked, how long did it take you to get your certifications?
Well, certifications actually went with me about 6 months. I'm actually in the process of starting my new certification with CCNA Cisco. That is going to be, for me, only because I'm working at the same time, it probably would take about 6 months almost. So you got to stay focused on it, but then also there's study groups that help you in the process. So definitely. And Christa Johnson, by the way, if she doesn't know already, is still one of my favorite people in the world, who was, if anybody knows, one of the women of NASA and Hidden Figures. So
yeah, the movie Hidden Figures, the main character is named Christa Johnson.
yeah, and guess what?
She actually just passed away, but she was like 98 years old.
She did. She was my personal hero, and also, you know, she was one of the first women of technology. So that actually was one of the people that led me to
not have landed on the moon without Christa Johnson, and that's a fact.
Right. That's 100% right.
Now, this is Jacayla Page. She's a sophomore, and this is a very good question. I've always thought about this myself. She said, if there's something wrong with one of the towers, how long would it take for a group to go out and fix it?
Oh, okay. It depends. A lot of times we have people out within 20, 30 minutes, depending on the area, also depending on the issue. And a lot of times we may have to send somebody back for the proper tools. So we've got to get all that information first from that person and that customer on what's going on. And if it's just an isolated tower issue, then what we would do is we would actually have to do our own investigation. So a lot of times I can have a technician or an engineer out within about 15 to 20 minutes to a location to making sure that's working. But I have to make sure that we have all the proper tools so they don't have to stop doing the work, you know, because sometimes once we get there, it may be a bigger issue. We've had issues as small as, and it's gonna sound crazy, animals chilling through the cords, all the way until hurricane season, you know? So you have to make sure that they have the proper tools and the proper information to do the job before you send them out. I can send someone out quick It's the work that has to be done beforehand. So that's
Yeah,
where I cut
and
down.
there's also serious safety issues. And, you know, obviously you don't want somebody climbing on a tower when it's lightning,
Right.
other things like that. So, you know, the safety of the employees is also a big part of this field that I think people seem to forget, but it
Yeah.
is, that would factor into the time as well.
Yeah.
This is Layla Young, she's a senior. Yes. What is the biggest challenge of your career?
The biggest challenge is sometimes the underestimating, honestly. It's when people underestimate you for how you look and your presentation. I am not the typical, as people like to call it, the typical engineer or the typical nerd where I'm wearing, you know, slacks and everything. I'm probably one of the coolest people, you know, they say, and they're like, Ms. Jonathan, you wear Jordans. Absolutely. I got a collection in the back. I'm like a big shoe collector here. You know, I'm a colorful person, so there's always something that brings to light, and I smile and I laugh and my spirit is different. So a lot of people don't see that because in this field, you're really stuck at a lot of times being by yourself. And when you're stuck being by yourself, you isolate yourself from the world and your spirit dies a little bit, honestly, in my opinion. So to keep my spirit going, I do things like this with the programs that we have. And also I bring that information to anyone and everyone that wants to hear it, but also I create a positive environment around me. So people don't underestimate who I am. They know that I have the knowledge, but also they know that I'm going to have a different type of energy that I bring to other people. So hopefully it ripples out to everyone else too.
That's awesome. Now, I just got one more from the students. This is Brenda Escudero. She's a senior, and she asked, what is the work environment at Logix like?
Awesome. It's truly, truly awesome. We're like a family. And compared to bigger companies, you know everyone. My 8th day at Logix, I met the CEO.
Wow.
8th day. He actually had an all hands meeting, and I came into the office, and it was really funny because everyone in the room had to introduce themselves and state how long they had been with the company. And my boss, he's funny, he's a funny guy, so he always nudges me. And when it was my turn, he nudged me. And so I said, I'm Christa, I gave my age and told them I was here for 8 days. And the entire room just froze and gave me an applause because that's a leap of faith when you do that. When you leave a company and then you go to another one and you're brand new and you're brave enough to make that change, whether it's for the better for you or for you personally or professionally or even both. And after that meeting, my CEO actually pulled me to the side. First of all, complimented my shoes. Complimented my shoes. And also told me, Christa, I heard so much about you already. I knew you worked at Verizon for 8.5 years. I knew that, you worked in this department and then you came to Houston on a dream, your dream job. I knew this. He was like, and what we want to do is we want to keep you. And he said that out of his own mouth. And sometimes you don't get to hear that from people in a higher level of leadership. So because you don't get to hear that from people in a higher level of leadership, it feels really good. And they're determined to do so. You have follow-ups to check in. So sometimes the environment makes changes everything.
Yeah, and a couple of things you mentioned there. One is how transferable engineering skills are, because especially here in the country, these kids say, "I want to go live in Houston. I want to go live in Atlanta." That's where all the big engineering jobs are. So you can get skilled in this. You can change companies like you did. You can get the experience in high school and the certification, and then go to the big company. And then that also shows the importance, even if you don't want to get into engineering, the importance of resume building and networking. Because if somebody already knows who you are because you had the experience, no matter what field you're in, that shows the importance of having a strong resume, being able to sell yourself, and being able to network within the field.
Yeah,
exactly. People want to get so mad at me when I make them present that, like I'm trying to be mean to them. But at the end of the day, it's about learning to sell yourself and to speak, because you said you talked about the customer service skills. Even if you're not going to be an engineer, being able to sell things and present your company is just so vital to especially to women and minorities in this country to be able to stand out.
Right. And it's also about presenting yourself, because you are a walking resume when you state what you do, who you work for, what your background is. So when you're able to speak in that type of, group, it means the world, because not only do you have the knowledge, but you have the compassion, the empathy, and the relatability to another person. Just because I'm an engineer does not mean that I am unreachable. It means that I am a part of this crazy big world that we have now, and I build it, but I am still a normal person just like you and I.
Yeah. Well, we're almost out of time, and like you said, the rumor is you never know where you pop up. So they can take that wherever you want. You may be popping up around here sometime soon. So, when you have a remote job, you have that ability. And it's like I told you, we're a very rural school, even though we have technology, and we can share this with the rest of the county. But you grew up as in Chicago, the South Side of Chicago. Lived in I've heard stories about that area. It's not the best area to grow up in the world, but yet you become extremely successful in a great field and a great company. But you grew up as a black person in America, and the obstacles are always going to be there, whether you want to admit it or not. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So what these young people do now at 14, 15, 16, 18 years old to get ready to overcome those things, to follow in the footsteps of people like you?
Determination, and don't be willing to speak up on your dream. Talk to people. Like I said, I'm always reachable. You can talk to me about anything, any questions you have, whether it's about technology, whether it's about being a minority in this field. I mean, let's be honest, I am a real minority. I'm a Black woman. I'm young, and I'm a part of the LGBTQ community. So it's a lot of factors that hit that I press a button on. And a lot of people may not be okay with that, but because I believe in myself, I'm determined to keep going. And I believe that I can help others in that process as well.
Yeah. Great example for all of our females and any of our LGBT kids that will watch, just a great part of that community as well, and doing some great things out there in Houston. And again, thank you for changing your schedule for us. We appreciate it so much. Christa Johnson joining us from Houston, Texas. And like you said, you never know where she could pop up. So again, check out Logix, great company, and I will talk to you very soon, my friend.
Yes, sir. See you guys later. Thanks again.
See ya.